$14.5 billion. That is how much value has been erased from a single company in 13 months. Not because of fraud. Not because of a recession. Not because of a product failure in the traditional sense. Chegg, the homework help platform that millions of students use to pay $20 a month to access, has lost 99% of its stock value since February 2021. And the reason is something that should make every business owner, every investor, every person who works for a living pay very close attention. Because what happened to Chegg is not a story about education technology. It is a story about what happens when artificial intelligence decides your entire business model is unnecessary. And there is one detail buried in this collapse that nobody is talking about, something that reveals exactly how fast the next wave of disruption is coming for industries most people think are safe. Welcome back to Zero Index. I want to be precise about what happened on May 2nd, 2023, because most people only remember the headline. Chegg stock crashed almost 50% in a single trading day. Not over weeks. Not gradually. Half the company's remaining value, gone before lunch. And the reason was a single sentence in the earnings call. Chegg CEO admitted that since March 2023, they had seen a significant spike in student interest in ChatGPT, and they believed it was having an impact on their new customer growth rate. That was 18 months after ChatGPT launched. 18 months. And what makes this collapse different from every other corporate death we have studied, Kodak, Blockbuster, Nokia's handset business, is the speed. Those companies took 5 to 10 years to die. Chegg lost 99% of its value in 13 months. Its all-time high was $113.51 on February 12, 2021. As of this recording, it hovers around $1. But here is what I did not understand until I dug into the data myself. The speed of this collapse was not just about ChatGPT being better. It was about a specific vulnerability in Chegg's business model that made it uniquely exposed to AI disruption. And once you see what that vulnerability is, you start to notice it everywhere. Chegg's core product was simple. Students paid $19.95 per month to access step-by-step solutions to homework problems. Textbook questions, practice exams, worked examples. The value proposition was clear: you are stuck on a calculus problem at 2 in the morning, Chegg shows you exactly how to solve it. Now think about what happened in November 2022. A free tool appeared that could do the same thing. Not approximately the same thing. Not a cheaper version. A tool that was both materially better and completely free. ChatGPT did not just answer homework questions. It explained them. It adapted to follow-up questions. It worked at 2 in the morning without a subscription. I pulled the survey data, and the shift is staggering. In spring 2023, 43% of students plan to use ChatGPT for schoolwork. 38% plan to use Chegg. By November 2024, 62% plan to use ChatGPT. Only 30% plan to use Chegg. The crossover happened in less than 18 months. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Chegg saw this coming. They were not caught off guard by some invisible force. In April 2023, just weeks before that catastrophic earnings call, Chegg launched Cheggmate, an AI tool built in partnership with OpenAI itself. They went directly to the source. They partnered with the company that was killing them. It did not matter. Cheggmate failed to retain subscribers. And I will come back to why that partnership failed, because it reveals something crucial about what happens when a legacy company tries to bolt AI onto an obsolete model. So Chegg's paying customers were leaving for ChatGPT. That is bad enough. But there is a second wave of destruction that hit them, and this one is less discussed but potentially more important for understanding where AI disruption is heading next. Google's AI overviews. See, Chegg did not only make money from subscribers. They also generated substantial revenue from non-subscriber traffic. Students who found Chegg through Google searches, saw partial answers, and sometimes converted to paid users. That traffic was already declining when ChatGPT launched. But then Google started putting AI-generated answers directly in search results. The numbers are brutal. Chegg's non-subscriber traffic fell 8% in Q2 2024. By January 2025, it had fallen 14%. Nearly half their search traffic, gone. Not because students stopped searching for homework help. Because Google started answering the questions before they could click through to Chegg. This is the part that should concern anyone running a business that depends on search traffic. Chegg is suing Google over this, a landmark antitrust lawsuit arguing that AI overviews are illegally destroying their business. But regardless of how that lawsuit goes, the traffic is not coming back. The behavior has changed. And here is the pattern interrupt that took me a while to figure out. The companies most vulnerable to AI disruption are not the ones competing with AI directly. They are the ones whose value proposition is answering questions that AI can now answer better and faster. If your business model depends on being a middleman between a question and an answer, you are standing exactly where Chegg was standing 3 years ago. Now I need to come back to Cheggmate, because this is the detail that changes how you should think about corporate AI strategies. Chegg did everything right by the conventional playbook. They saw the threat early. They moved fast. They partnered with the actual market leader. OpenAI helped them build Cheggmate. They launched in April 2023, months before many competitors even acknowledged AI was a problem. And it failed completely. Why? I spent a lot of time trying to understand this, and here is what I found. Cheggmate was not solving a problem students actually had. Students were not thinking, I wish Chegg had AI features. They were thinking, why would I pay $20 for something ChatGPT does for free? The AI partnership did not change that fundamental math. This is the trap that legacy companies fall into. They treat AI as a feature to add rather than a force that is redefining the category. Chegg with AI is still Chegg. It is still a subscription service competing against a free product. The underlying business model was obsolete, and no amount of AI sprinkled on top could change that. I want to be honest, I did not fully appreciate this until I looked at the subscriber numbers. By Q1 2025, Chegg's subscriber base had dropped 31% year-on-year to 3.2 million users. Revenue fell 30% to $121 million. They have lost over 500,000 subscribers since ChatGPT launched. And this is after the AI partnership. After Cheggmate. After everything they tried. The human cost of this collapse is worth understanding, because it is coming for other companies next. Chegg has gone through 4 rounds of layoffs since June 2024. 1,396 employees cut. The company reported an operating loss of $36.5 million and $12 million in negative free cash flow in a single quarter. As of now, they have 595 employees left, a dramatic reduction from their peak. And they are fighting to remain listed on the New York Stock Exchange. When your stock falls below $1 for too long, you get delisted. Chegg is in that danger zone right now. Here is where it gets strange. Despite all of this, the empty offices, the layoffs, the stock collapse, the existential threat, students are still using Chegg. 3.2 million of them are still paying. The company is not dead yet. But it is dying in a way that is historically unprecedented for a company of its size. What typically happens when a business faces disruption is that decline follows in scurve. Slow at first, then accelerating, then slowing again as the company stabilizes at a smaller size or finds a new niche. Chegg's decline has been essentially linear and steep. No plateau. No stabilization. Just continuous bleeding. And that brings me to the question I started with. The thing nobody is talking about. Why was Chegg so uniquely exposed? Why did they die in 13 months while Kodak took a decade? The answer is something I call value proposition transparency. And once you understand it, you can start to identify which other industries are at risk. Chegg's product was answers to homework questions. That is it. The value was completely transparent, you could evaluate it instantly. When ChatGPT appeared, students could test it immediately. They could ask it the same question they would have asked Chegg, get an answer, compare the quality, and make a decision in 5 minutes. Compare that to Kodak. Digital cameras appeared, but the comparison was not instant. You had to buy equipment, learn new workflows, trust digital storage. The friction slowed the transition. Or compare it to Netflix versus Blockbuster. Streaming was obviously better in theory, but internet speeds, content libraries, and viewing habits took time to shift. The comparison required behavior change over months or years. Chegg required no behavior change at all. Students were already typing questions into computers. They just started typing them into a different box. The friction was zero. The comparison was instant. The verdict was immediate. This is what I mean by value proposition transparency. If your entire value can be tested against an AI alternative in under 5 minutes, with no behavior change required, you are in the kill zone. And here is the implication that should make you uncomfortable. There are hundreds of businesses right now whose value proposition is exactly this transparent. Customer service chat. Basic legal document preparation. First draft writing for marketing. Simple code generation. Data analysis with natural language queries. Financial report summarization. Every one of these is a typed question expecting an answer. Every one of these can be tested against AI in 5 minutes. Every one of these is standing where Chegg stood in early 2023. I am not going to pretend I know exactly which companies will be next. But I will tell you what I am watching for. The pattern is specific. Look for businesses where the core value is answering a question or completing a task that AI can now handle. Look for subscription models competing against free alternatives. Look for companies whose main distribution channel is search traffic that Google's AI overviews might cannibalize. Look for legacy players whose AI response has been to add features rather than reinvent their model. And if you work for a company that fits this pattern, I am not saying quit tomorrow. But I am saying start building skills and relationships that will matter in a world where that business no longer exists. Because if Chegg taught us anything, it is that 13 months is not a lot of time. The uncomfortable question I am left with is this. Chegg was a $14 billion company with smart people who saw the threat early, moved fast, and partnered with the best in the industry. And they still could not escape. What does that tell us about the companies that have not even started adapting yet? If this is the kind of analysis you want more of, subscribe. We are tracking these disruptions as they happen, not after the obituary is written.